Sports. Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. It's time to get in the game.
Do you know what time it is?
Tune in to Primetime Sports Talk with Jalen Gillis.
To me, you are nothing.
Your go-to source for breaking sports news in Central Texas and exclusive Dallas Cowboys coverage.
Start it up, let's go.
Catch us Monday through Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Prime Time. I'm your host, Jalen Gillis. We are here to take you through the primetime topics in sports, not only in the Central Texas area, but from all around the nation. Happy Wednesday to everybody out there. We finally got a little bit of a cold front coming in so far today. Came outside today and it was about 30, 40. Felt like it was about 40 degrees and I was pretty happy. I'm a winter baby, so I like whenever it's cold outside and I can finally stop sweating, walking around wherever I'm trying to get throughout the day. Hope everybody's having a great day. As always, if you guys want to watch this content, you can go over to YouTube, Centex Sports Network, or Centex Sports TV on YouTube, or you can download the app, Centex Sports 1, on the Google Play Store and on the Apple Store as well. Halfway through the week, so here on this Wednesday, hump day, some of y'all would say. Appreciate everybody for tuning in with me, not only today, but throughout this entire week, as had Rocky and Kyrell on yesterday, had a multitude of guests on Monday as well. Got PJ Gaither joining me here today as we're getting ready to talk about break down some of these topics in sports from around the nation. PJ, what's going on?
Man, I'm doing good today. I'm doing pretty good.
Hey, I feel that. I feel that. So, folks, like I said, it's been a crazy week in sports over just the last couple of weeks. Last weekend, the October 12th weekend that everybody had been talking about, lived up to the hype. And we got a multitude of good games, starting with the Texas and Oklahoma game. Alabama and South Carolina was a good game out there. The Oregon and Ohio State game, probably the game of the week. That was a huge game that lived up to the hype, came all the way down to the end. I was disappointed with Kansas State, Colorado game that happened. Just didn't turn out the way that I wanted it. But a lot of parity right now in the NCAA. A lot of great stories right now in the NCAA. So that's what we're going to start today, folks, as we talk about some college football to start the show here today. And got to start with the number one team in the nation, as they've got a great game coming up this weekend. Huge game coming up this weekend. And the Texas Longhorns at home going to be playing against the Georgia Bulldogs. This is a game that everyone's been talking about the entire season, really. Everyone's been waiting to see this game. We knew this game is going to mean a lot for the SEC rankings. Didn't know Texas was going to be a number one when it was time for this game to start, but we did know that this was going to be a great game in the SEC. Right now, Texas is a 5-point favorite over the Georgia Bulldogs. Who would have thought that before the season started? There's a lot of people that definitely wouldn't have thought that. Georgia was the number one team coming in to the start of this season. They dropped a game to Alabama. They've struggled against some teams as well. Texas has dominated pretty much every single game they played. Have yet to struggle, but they haven't played anybody like this team they're about to play on Saturday, the Georgia Bulldogs. Texas was able to come out with the win on Saturday in the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma. Domination from start to finish. One of the hometown kids, Trey Wisner, put on a show, over 100 yards in that game for the Texas Longhorns. They won with Quinn Ewers out the lineup. They won with Quinn Ewers in the lineup. Quinn Ewers came out and kind of struggled to start the game, and that was kind of to be expected. He hadn't played in a few weeks, but as PJ has said multiple times throughout this year, Texas is the deepest team in college football. They're 2 or 3 deep at every position, and the receiver room is ridiculous. They have 5 stars all over the receiver room. Isaiah Bond, looking at Ryan Wingo, Jonte Cook, all of these guys. The Golden Kid has been playing great. They're deep at every position. They got injuries to the running back room, and yet the running backs are stepping up week in and week out. Going to get their biggest test this week. Seeing the news of one of the safeties getting hurt for Texas and could potentially be out for the season. But they're deep at every position. I like what I've been seeing from the young kid Malik Muhammad out of South Oak Cliff at the corner spot. Man, this Texas team is good, but they are playing possibly the most talented team in the league. This Georgia Bulldogs team is projected to have 10-plus first-round picks on this team. It's ridiculous. So they're not playing any type of scrub just because Georgia has lost a game. They lost to a really talented Alabama team as well. So I can't wait for this game this weekend. So before we talk a little bit more about Texas, I want to talk about this game this weekend with Georgia versus Texas. PJ, what do you think about this game coming up on Saturday, 6:30?
Originally, I thought it was going to be like number 1 versus number 3. I thought Texas was going to be number 3. Thought Georgia was going to be number 1 because I think that's how the rankings was originally when the season first started. I'm excited about the game. Honestly, I can't wait. I can't wait till Saturday. To be honest, this is probably going to be up there as one of the better games of this year. I think if it lives up to that hype, that everyone's been having around it. This has been a very, just a very popular game since we first found out that Georgia scheduled Texas, during this season. So this game been talked about since the off season. A little bit even last year, looking forward to this game. So, I think it's going to be a great game. I think both teams match up pretty well against each other. I do feel like Texas, and this might be me being biased, but I really do feel like Texas probably has the upper hand when it comes to the game. But Georgia they have all the players, they got the coaching, everything to be able to beat this Texas team, even though I really consider this Texas team one of the better teams, one of the deeper teams in college football. I just personally feel like whenever you're playing Steve Sarkisian, his offenses are just so complex to be able to stop, a lot of movement before the ball is even hiked. The different ways that he incorporate, like the run, the RPO, man, his RPO game is insane. He does so much when it comes to just calling plays that this is why I feel like he's probably one of the better play callers offensively in college football, if not the best.
For sure.
So I've been watching a lot of tape, man, these last few days since Saturday. I've been watching a lot of tape on Texas and on Georgia, and I've just been kind of seeing things that both teams I feel like could be better at. But I feel like Texas they got the edge. But one of the biggest things I kind of want to talk about is, Georgia is probably, they are going to be the best team that Texas plays. So far, I would say so far. We don't really know how the rest of the season is going to go. But this notion of Texas not playing anybody is just crazy to me. I've been hearing a lot of people on different podcasts, on YouTube, even on just different news, sports news that I've been hearing about, and they're saying that Texas hasn't really played anybody. But that wasn't what y'all were saying whenever they beat Michigan in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Or going into this Oklahoma game, I heard people saying, well, you can't really say that Texas is going to win outright because you never know what goes on in a Red River shootout, which I agree with that. But now it's, they haven't played nobody. Whenever Oklahoma has one of the top 3, top 4 defenses in the SEC.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Michigan still has a really good defense, and they can beat certain teams. They can out physical a lot of other teams. They just couldn't out physical Texas. So there's no, and then regardless, even with UL Monroe, and I'm not here to say UL Monroe is world beaters. Either am I here to say that Oklahoma or or Michigan is. But UL Monroe, since they've played Texas, I don't think they lost a game. So I'm just saying Texas have handled business leading all the way up to now. So there shouldn't be any argument as to, oh, well, they haven't played anybody, so are they really that good? Because they've handled business, unlike a few other teams that we see that's in the top 5 or even top 10 that hasn't handled business every week. You know, Oregon, they just came off a really good win against Ohio State, but we've seen them struggle against Idaho and, to me, a good Boise State team. I feel like Boise State is a really good team, but we've seen them struggle. We've seen Ohio State struggle. We've seen Ohio State lose. We've seen Georgia end up losing. We've seen Georgia struggle last week against Mississippi State, where they allowed 31 points. And the week before, when Texas played Mississippi State, they only allowed 13.
Yeah.
So I'm not here to really just compare who's playing who, because I understand that every week is different, and then you're going to call the game differently depending on who you're playing. But I'm just saying, just to kind of defend Texas, you know, with the whole notion of, oh, well, they haven't played anybody and they're going to play somebody now and they're going to lose. You know, I don't really agree with that. I feel like they're going to give Georgia a really good game, possibly one of the best games that Georgia has played outside of the Alabama game that they had a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely going to be the best game for either side has played. And I'm agreeing, Texas has taken care of business each and every game. Now, I will say, to the defense of some of the people saying that Texas has probably played, out of the top 5 teams, excluding Penn State, they've played the weaker schedule out of the top 5 teams. That don't mean they haven't played anybody. They still beat Michigan. And that Michigan loss is looking better and better every week that Michigan win is looking better and better every week because Michigan's starting to look better and better every single week. So that I think Oregon and Ohio State and Georgia have probably played a tougher schedule so far. But, I mean, there's nothing anybody can say if Texas goes out here and beat Georgia. There is no who they played or who they haven't played. It's all coming down to this week anyway. Regardless if they have played somebody or haven't played somebody, they got to come out there and strap up and play against one of the toughest teams and one of the most talented teams in the entire nation this Saturday. So if they come out here and win this game, there shouldn't be any debates from anybody or who's the best guy or who's not the best.
You know,
go ahead.
You know, that's what's going to make me mad, bro, because I feel like if they beat Georgia, everybody going to be, Georgia not as good as we thought they were. How they not as good as we thought they were whenever they were y'all were just picking them to possibly win. You know what I mean? Just because they got 2 losses now all of a sudden they not good. You know, they be writing these teams off once they get 2 losses, and these conferences are deep.
They did it with LSU. When LSU lost, we all did it with Clemson. When Clemson lost the first game, look at how they look now.
Look at what they doing. Yeah. Like, they be writing these teams off, man, and I don't really agree with that, bro. Like, I really feel like that if we beat Georgia, it's going to be some excuses. Well, Georgia's not as good as we thought they were. Or they not Georgia from 2022. There's not a lot of teams that's the Georgia team from 2022 or 2021.
Nobody is.
It's a lot of teams. Yeah, nobody. You know what I mean? But they still a good team, and they can still run a table even with 2 losses.
For sure. And we talked about that on the show. We talked about that on the show yesterday, PJ. We was talking about how crazy this college football playoffs is going to be. I know everybody thought it'd be a little bit easier to pick who was going to be able to get in there since there's 12 teams instead of 4. I can make the argument that it's going to be tougher. If Georgia does lose to Texas, can you leave them out of the college football playoffs with 2 losses? No, you can't. You can't do that.
You can't. Yeah.
SMU they don't play Miami. Or I'm trying to think of the other team in the ACC is they don't play Miami or Clemson for the rest of the regular season. Who's going to get to that ACC championship?
All three of those teams don't play each other for the rest of the regular season.
How can you pick who to leave in and put it in and to put in the 8? How can you even pick who to put in the ACC championship? Like, this is going to be one of the most ridiculous college football playoffs of all time. Just thinking about how hard of a job the committee's gonna have. What do you think about that and how this could all shape out at the end?
I don't know how that's gonna work because you got a possibility that there's gonna be 3 teams out the ACC who hasn't lost any conference play. in SMU, Clemson, and Miami. Now, I feel like Clemson will automatically be out because they got the one loss. But that one loss didn't come in their conference, though. So that's going to be their argument.
Yeah,
well, our loss came from somebody in another conference. It didn't come from anybody in our conference.
Yeah.
SMU, let's say SMU say they go undefeated or Miami go undefeated, you're going to have to put those two in the ACC championship game just because they're both undefeated. So
SMU got a loss to BYU.
Yeah, they got a loss against BYU.
Yeah. SMU 5-1.
Okay. They 5-1. So yeah, they gonna have their argument too then.
Yep.
So it's like, who are you gonna really put in? It's gonna have to come down to somebody is gonna have to lose another game, and that's gonna be very hard to try to bank on who's gonna lose that next game, because it's like, I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough, man. It's gonna be very tough. There's gonna be somebody's gonna be mad. I like the 12 team better than the 4, but somebody's gonna be mad. There's gonna be a few teams that's gonna be mad because in each conference, you got teams. I mean, you look at the Big 12, you got BYU and Iowa State that's undefeated, but then you got 5-1 Kansas State, and you got a 5-1 Texas Tech. Now, with the difference in the Big 12, those teams are going to cannibalize each other.
Yeah,
they're going to. That's going to happen. You know, but I mean, still, it's a possibility that don't happen. You know what I mean? Or each team, it might be 3 teams out the Big 12. They got 1 loss. You know, so. It's going to be really tough, man. All these conferences so far are extremely deep. Nobody is really just pulling away from each other, you know what I'm saying, from their conferences. Like, every team looks really tough. The SEC looks really tough this year, like always, but definitely this year, definitely with Texas looking how they looking. And then you got teams that we thought were going to be good, and they're not that good. Yeah. You know what I mean? Ole Miss, for example. Yeah. Like, I mean, they're still pretty good.
Oh, they're still good.
But something's going on. Or you look at Tennessee. Yeah, they're still pretty good. You look at Tennessee, though. For some reason, since SEC play has started, their offense has been terrible. And before, like just a few weeks ago, we had Tennessee. I mean, Nico Amalieva, we had him like the top. He was top 5.
Yeah, for sure.
Best quarterbacks for sure in college just a few weeks ago. So you got teams like that, man. Some teams, they start out hot and they kind of go away, and then some teams, you know, they start a little slow, but then they pick up. I feel like Oregon has picked up.
Yeah, look at I was just gonna say, look at the Big Ten. Look at the Big Ten with Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State at 2, 3, and 4 in the nation, and then you got an undefeated Indiana sitting at 16.
I'm about to say, I'm gonna tell you something about the Indiana team, man.
They tough.
First Stignetti came from James Madison. He got 26 people out the transfer portal last year, and they all came from winning programs.
Yep.
And all those guys got, so 13 of them came from James Madison. 9 out of the 13 players are starting for Indiana right now. That dude, you seen what he said? He was like, "Google me."
Yeah. Fact.
He's like, "Google me. I win games." He's not lying. That guy is the truth, and he has Indiana looking really good. They're the number 2 scoring offense right now in college football, number 1 in the Big Ten. They're averaging like 46 points a game. Super slept on.
Yeah, and
super slept on.
So we might see 4 teams out the Big Ten, 4 teams out the SEC, at least 2 teams out the Big 12. And then what do you do with the ACC if, like we just talked about with SMU, Clemson, and Miami, y'all not even playing each other to the ACC championship game? I don't know. Then you still have Notre Dame.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then you still got what if Army's only loss is to Notre Dame and they went out?
Army and Navy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Army. I just said Army because Army's look good. Army blowing people out, and good teams at that. Well, at least at least teams you would consider respectable D1 squads like UAB and Tulsa and Temple. They're blowing them out.
Yeah. What you gonna do about Boise?
Yeah, and then you got to put Boise. You have to put Boise in there. They got the Heisman. You gonna leave the dude that wins the Heisman out to college football playoffs? It's impossible. You know they got to put him in there. So, man, I don't envy anybody
on. It's gonna be a lot of.
Yeah. I don't envy anybody on the college football playoff committee at all.
It's gonna be crazy. Yeah, it's gonna be very tough. If you're the ACC person that does the scheduling, why would you not schedule Miami and Clemson on?
Goofball.
That should be mandatory at this point. I don't care if either one of the teams are bad. You gotta schedule both of those teams. You got to. Miami, just because of like the lore that they have, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta schedule them against Clemson, and same for Clemson. Those are two powerhouses, or Clemson is a powerhouse out the ACC. Miami, not really, but I mean, still, like I said, just the legend of Miami, and then with all the hype that they have coming into the season or every season, you gotta schedule them against Clemson. SMU, they're new, so I'm going to give them a pass on that. I don't feel like that. We felt that SMU was going to be a top team in the ACC, but they were sleeping on SMU.
And they don't got way better since they let that kid from Sock get out there.
Oh yeah, way better, man. They looking really nice, man. All the kids in Dallas, you know, they're staying home. If they're not going to Texas, they're going to SMU.
Hey, I said it yesterday. I was talking to Kyrell.
Really,
I was talking to Kyrell on there. I said it yesterday. I think unfortunately, the worst thing that could happen to Baylor is SMU getting good like they get. Because why would, and you know, I'm a Baylor fan. I'm just keeping it a buck. Why would a kid choose Baylor over SMU right now? If you a kid in Texas and you're not getting an offer from A&M or from UT, why would you choose Baylor over SMU?
And you from definitely if you're from the DFW area, you from Dallas. Why would you move? You know, we from the city, man. Like, but why would you move from Dallas? Why would you move? If you can go to SMU, you're gonna be staying in Highland Park,
North Dallas. That's the best part of Dallas.
In Lower Greenville, North Dallas, Upper Greenville. You're gonna be staying uptown. Why would you leave that to come down to Waco, where you're gonna be staying in South Waco?
South Waco.
You're gonna be staying in South Waco, or maybe downtown. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? You know, and then I know they got the loss and stuff that they trying to make in North Waco and stuff. But man, them students don't want to stay over there.
You right next to the villages. They don't want to stay.
Scared to even come outside over there. Yeah, they be scared to even come outside over there. So why would you leave that? I mean, why would you come to that whenever you can be staying in I'm talking about the most expensive area
in Texas,
in Dallas, not only in Dallas but in Texas, where you're going to be good. You ain't going to have to worry about nobody breaking in your car. You ain't going to have to worry about nobody, you know what I'm saying, anything happening or anything, man. You're going to be good.
Yeah.
Look, I stay over here in Greenville.
Yeah.
It's good over here. There's ain't nothing going on over here. You gonna see nothing's going on. The police, they gonna respond very quickly. They always patrolling. Nothing's gonna happen over here. So like, why would you? And then SMU they have just as much money, if not more, than Baylor. I think they have more than Baylor.
They got more than everybody in Texas besides UT.
Yeah.
And maybe A&M.
UT and maybe Rice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Rice too. So it's tough, man. It's tough. I hate to even say that because, like I said, I'm a Baylor fan, and we got plenty of friends of the show that are connected to Baylor, and it's tough for me to say that. It's just right now, it's just the honest truth. Not saying that nothing could change. That's just the honest truth. So you can choose to live in, like you just said, PJ, a nice loft in North Dallas, next to Target and next to Highland Park, and you know, next to I'm trying to think of the mall over there, next to all the nice places over there, or
North Park.
Yeah. You could be a
North.
You could be a North Park Mall, or you could come be a Parkside baby and come stay in Waco. So it's tough right now for Baylor recruiting, but hey, I hope they figure it out, man. And we're gonna take a quick break, folks. We got more college football to talk about on the show. Got to talk about Oregon and them beating Ohio State. Texas making their run and making their claim as the best team in the nation. In hour number 2, still got some NFL to talk. I want to talk about the Tay Adams trade, the Amari Cooper trade, and talk about some of these Week 7 games coming up. So stay tuned, folks, and stay locked in right here on Centex Primetime. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after this.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen, Gillis.
Act like y'all.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports.
Are you looking for something new and unforgettable in Waco? Come to the Blasian Asian, where authentic Cambodian flavors meet creative culinary flair. Voted People's Choice as Waco's #1 Asian restaurant since 2019 by both the Wacoan Magazine and the Waco Tribune Herald. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin, we're serving up family recipes with a twist. Blasian Asian egg rolls are rolled fresh daily, and their sauces or marinades are made in-house with love. Stop by today. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin. And for Baylor students, enjoy 10% off with your student ID.
NSJ Event Co., one of the premier event designers in Central Texas and a Centex Sports Network supporter. Voted Waco Awards Event Planner of the Year 2021, NSJ Event Co. is your go-to source for event planning. Whether it's your next baby shower, birthday bash, wedding, or retirement party, NSJ Event Co. will bring out the elegance, class, and style your event deserves. Call NSJ Event Co. at the number on the screen or scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation. NSJ Event Co., where the party lady takes care of all your event needs.
It's the family feels for me. The banana pudding peach cobbler make you want to holler. For me, it's the candy yams, mac and cheese, beef tips, pork tips and rice, collard greens. It's a sweet potato pie, sweetie. Fried chicken you've been missing, the lemon sweet tea dressing on Sundays when you all dressed up. Chest pie, buttermilk, and pound cake. Cornbread with butter just dripping, always fresh baked. If you need Southern style, soul food, home cooked meals that you can feel. Chicken and dumplings, chicken pot pie, 719 South 11th Street. Sassys, come on by.
The East Waco Empowerment Project, along with City Center Waco, is hosting WeBo, Workshop and Business Opportunity, to help create more entrepreneurs. Business owners like Aniceto Charles of True Jamaica Restaurant and Carla Dotson of Boardwalk on Elm attended WeBo to develop their business ideas into successful Black-owned businesses right in the heart of East Waco. WeBo can also help you turn your side hustle or business idea into the next thriving Black-owned business in our community. If you would like to attend this 10-week intense entrepreneurial workshop, go to WeBoWaco.org. That's WIBO Waco.org. Space.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen, Gillis.
Act like y'all.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports. Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. This is live from the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports Studios.
That's right, sports fans.
About to show these boys how we do it. You ready?
Tune in to Primetime Sports Talk with Jalen Gillis, your go-to source for breaking sports news in Central Texas and exclusive Dallas Cowboys coverage on the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Primetime. As always, want to thank you guys for tuning in with me so far today. We got through about the first half hour of the show here, talking about some college football, talking about your Texas Longhorns, sitting at #1 in the nation right now, getting ready to take on the Georgia Bulldogs this Saturday. It's going to be a great game. For those of you who want to jump in the chat and let us know what you think about the show, go over to YouTube, Centex Sports Network on YouTube and Centex Sports TV. We got some fans in the chat. Said Longhorns versus Georgia is huge. Please start Arch Manning. Now, I'm on here joined with PJ Gaither as well. He's had very, very similar sentiments about these Texas Longhorns, and at times in that Red River game where he thought Arch should have got into that game, and I can't even blame you, man. You know, it was if Quinn comes out there on Saturday and starts the way he started against Oklahoma, you were right, PJ. Oklahoma does have a good defense, one of the better defenses in the SEC for sure. But they ain't this Georgia Bulldog defense. You come out there and you start slow like that, like Ewers did, it's gonna be tough, man. We don't know if the Longhorns are gonna be able to run the ball like they ran the ball in Oklahoma against this Georgia team. So I mean, this one of the better points you did make is Steve Sarkisian is probably the best play caller. And yesterday, Rocky said best play caller and play designer in the NCAA right now. Mm-hmm. So that does give them an advantage in that part. But Kirby Smart is no slouch. His defenses are no slouch. And honestly, as much as we got on Carson Beck at the beginning of the season, man, Carson Beck these last couple weeks, he's starting to look like a guy that could have been first team, the preseason first team All-American quarterback. So this offense, they can be explosive. This defense has some dogs on it. This is going to be an all-time clash, I feel like, and possibly the best game of the season. It's going to be hard to top that Oregon-Ohio State game because that was a good game. But this weekend's game could possibly be the game of the season, depending on how it shakes out. PJ, what do you think about some people saying, hey, man, it might be time to throw Arch back in the mix in that quarterback play if Quinn come out and start slow?
My biggest take on that is I feel what they're saying, but at the same time, we just need to go ahead and ride with Quinn for now. But if he start out slow, My thing is, if you're not 100%, then don't force it, because when you force it, you're just gonna hurt the team. But if he's good to go, then I mean, it's all good. Later on, as the game kept on progressing, he started playing better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like he just needs to kind of. He was just rusty, man. He ain't played in about a month almost.
Yeah.
Almost a month. So he needs to kind of knock off some of that rust. He still is a really good quarterback. I still gonna ride with him for now. But if he start out slow, then for sure, I mean, might as well try it out. My biggest take though on this Georgia team, I've been watching a lot of tape, and they bite a lot at simple things. I mean, if you go back and look at
what got him in trouble against
the
Bama
Mississippi State game last week, Bama, Kentucky. Go look at the Kentucky game. They struggle a lot whenever offenses are moving before the snap. Like, they got guys going in motion. They're struggling with that. And this Texas team, if you struggled against Mississippi State, Kentucky, and even Bama, if you struggled with that, you're going to struggle, I promise you, against a Steve Sarkisian team. You're going to struggle against that, man, because that's all Texas is doing.
Yep.
That's all they're doing. They have so many receivers. Everybody's a threat.
Yeah.
Everybody. There's guys on a bench that can come onto the field and be a threat. Anytime you see, I haven't even spoke on Gunnar Hill yet.
Yeah.
Tight end. He gets most of the he gets most of the passes thrown his way, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
So, but even with the running backs coming out the backfield, you got to worry about Trey. You got to worry about Jaden Blue. You got to worry about them guys coming out the backfield, man, because they're a threat coming out the backfield and getting passes thrown their way. You know, it's not going to be like. I understand. I respect Georgia, and I feel like this Georgia team is going to give us their best. Kirby Smart is going to have them prepared coming down to Austin. He's going to have them prepared, but I'm just saying, like, just as much as they're going to be prepared, Texas is going to be as well. And I promise you that their defense is really good. But I feel like, and I respect it, because I'm a firm believer in, until somebody else other than Alabama beats Georgia, you might want to take them really, really serious. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's the only team that I see that beat them in like the last few years, and that's only like probably two times. You know, in the last few years, probably 2 or 3 times in the last few years. You know, so. But I don't know, man. Texas offense, man. People go watch this tape. I feel like they're gonna be able to run the ball on this Georgia team.
Yeah,
I really think. I mean, I'm not saying that it's going to be a game like against Oklahoma this past Saturday, but they're going to get some movement. This offensive line that Texas has is the best O-line in all of college football.
For sure.
They're the best O-line. They're not standing down against nobody. Them guys, man, it's gonna be a great game. I can't wait, man, because I feel like even though Texas is, they're picked to win the game and everything, but I feel like there's more people that expects them to lose this game or really want to. I've been seeing a lot of Bama fans saying, man, I want Texas to lose.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
I've been seeing a lot of Oklahoma fans that's salty from last Saturday. I can't believe them. They got the nerve. Billy Bowman, after the game, the safety, he's talking crazy after they done lost, saying that Texas didn't earn the win. How we didn't earn the win, dude? Whenever my boy Trey Wiseman from the city, you gonna be on his highlight tape this year. You gonna be on his highlight tape. When the second that long run that he got, bro, when he scored, when he cut back,
yep.
Who was that slid?
That was Billy.
Number 2, Billy Bowman. That was you, my boy. So how you gonna say that? How you gonna say they didn't earn it? That's stuff just like that make me not like OU, bro. Yeah, like, you ain't gotta be salty, little bro. Like, just take your loss. Your coach not even that salty. Like, I mean, he's salty, but he not coming out and saying anything crazy like that. You know what I mean? These dudes, I don't know, man. They need PR training or something. Like, you don't talk crazy after the L, bro. You just take your loss and go about your business. And then they wishing bad on us. These other teams was wishing bad on us in the SEC because they said that when we came into the SEC that we weren't going to be ready, that we were going to pretty much lose to Tier 3, Tier 2 teams, and that we weren't going to be that good, not realizing that we've been building up for this transition for the last, 4 years.
Now, Texas is ready.
Sarkisian he's been recruiting like, we're ready.
Yeah, Texas.
We were ready last year. We beat y'all best team last year, Alabama.
Yeah, beating Bama and having a chance to beat Georgia this weekend, and the Oklahoma fans, that's expected, man. They be salty. They used to be salty whenever Baylor would get a dub on them. So I know they salty about Texas doing what they do, and Texas being at the top, that's expected. That's what's going to happen as far as the hate.
They're better than that, man.
That's what's going to happen as far as the hate with Texas because they're at the top. Nobody's gotten more hate in the last 15 years in Alabama because they've been at the top. Everybody wants them to lose every week, no matter who they played. And right now, Texas is at the top, and they're getting that same amount of hate. The two players that I want to see do good, and I think are going to be difference makers in this game, are on the defensive side of the ball. Anthony Hill Jr. and Colin Simmons. First of all, Colin Simmons is a freak pass rusher already. He's a freshman, true freshman, doing this kind of stuff out of Duncanville. It's not unexpected. Him and Anthony Hill pairing together, I thought this would be a great duo, maybe moving forward, but it's already a great duo. I didn't know Simmons would be able to catch on this quick, and he has. If they can create pressure on Carson Beck like they've been creating pressure so far this year, man, it's gonna be a long day for them Georgia Bulldogs. I'm just saying. Anderson, Austin, that crowd is not gonna let up at all. So I can't wait to watch that game. It's this weekend on ABC. College Game Day will be in Austin. That's going to be the game of the week for sure. At 6:30, Longhorns versus Georgia. I want to talk about one of the other teams in this top 5, man, because they had the game of the week last week. The Oregon Ducks getting a big win against Ohio State, and I got to give them their props because I thought Ohio State would have enough to be able to beat them. I thought Ohio State was going to be able to beat them, and I'm still not even convinced that Ohio State can't beat them because I think that environment had a lot to do with that game and the way that it turned out, man. That Oregon crowd was crazy. That entire environment was crazy, and they probably had to get a 3-4 hour flight just to get over there. Oregon is far. That's the top of the Pacific Northwest. So I mean, that's a far flight to get all the way out there. So Oregon, after beating Ohio State, they move up, and now they're a top 2 team, the number 2 in the nation. And did Oregon make a good enough case, in your opinion, to be considered the best team in college football. They beat Ohio State. I don't think anybody's got a better win than that right now in the nation. They're 6-0 in this new Big Ten. They're going to get tested some more. They still got to play Michigan. They still got to play Illinois, who's a slept-on team. I'm excited about watching that Illinois and Michigan game this weekend. I think that's going to be a big game. But and then they'll still have the Big Ten championship as well. So did Oregon make a case for them being the top team in the nation, sitting at number 2 right now?
I wouldn't be mad if somebody was to put them number 1. I honestly thought they were going to be number 1. I was saying the whole week that whoever wins out of them or Ohio State was going to be number 1 just because it was number 2 versus number 3.
Yeah.
So whoever won was going to have the best win, you know what I mean, out of the top 5. You know, so I thought they were going to be number 1, but I guess Texas showed how good they, you know, how they played against Oklahoma. That was good enough for them to stay at number 1. But I wouldn't be mad if someone was to say Oregon should be at number 1. I mean, they just beat the number 2 team in the nation. So I'm okay with that. I don't think that they're better than Texas, but you can make an argument. You can make an argument for them being the number 1 team in the nation for sure. I mean, they got the best win right now. And I mean, you can try to argue Alabama beating Georgia when Georgia was number 1, but I mean,
they lost to Vanderbilt.
Alabama ended up losing against Vanderbilt, so that kind of knocked that off. Yeah, they lost to Vanderbilt. You know, Vanderbilt, they playing really good. We got them next week, honestly, after we play Georgia. But yeah, you can't. I mean, if you're Alabama, you can't. You're not supposed to lose against Vanderbilt, regardless. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be mad if someone were to be like, oh well, I feel like Oregon should be number 1 because they beat Ohio State. I mean, for sure. Now, on a neutral field, I feel like Ohio State can beat them. I feel like both of those teams they can possibly. I'm not going to say that they will because the Big Ten is pretty deep. I do got teams like Indiana, Illinois that I feel like teams need to really worry about. And to be honest, Penn State as well. It's crazy that I'm saying this because I look at Penn State the way I look at Notre Dame.
Facts.
You know, a few other schools, man. Like they iffy. They start the season off really good, and then they always end up losing, similar to Ole Miss. Like these be top teams during the preseason AP polls, and then as the season progresses, they end up losing like 2 or 3 games. Mm-hmm. So you just really never know with those teams. But with Tyler Warren, the tight end for Penn State, he is a matchup nightmare for any defense.
Man,
he's too big. And too athletic, really, to put him on a safety. He's too big for the safety. No safety gonna really cover him, unless your safety is just that guy. But I haven't really seen no defenses in the Big Ten that I think possibly maybe Ohio State. And I guess you can say Oregon, maybe. But I mean, he's a matchup nightmare, bro. And he's too athletic for any linebacker. He's too fast for any linebacker. So it's like who you're going to put him on. You know, he's a matchup nightmare. So with him, they can pretty much match up against anybody in the Big Ten. So, like I say, it's a lot of other teams in the Big Ten that I'm confident about. But I do feel like that it's a possibility that Ohio State and Oregon are going to meet up in Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship. And I feel like on a neutral field, not really having to worry about flying all the way across the country, at least for Ohio State. Not having to worry about flying all the way across the country. And, it was a few calls in that game, too, that was kind of iffy. But I still feel like Oregon won fair and square. But on a neutral field, I think Ohio State can possibly win that game. And, I mean, at the same time, Oregon can beat them again for a second time. So it's really up in the air, man. Like I say, this year it's so much parity that you really just can't. You can't really make a bet for anybody that anyone's, going to do whatever. Anybody can lose any week.
Yeah, and I'm agreeing with you as far as the Ohio State on a neutral field. I think they'll probably have a chance to get the best of Oregon. And, I mean, it was 32-31. It's not like a team got blown out in that game anyway. So both teams really good. And I'm also agreeing with you. I think that's who's going to match up in Indianapolis because I do think as good as Penn State is playing, I think they'll probably lose to Ohio State or Oregon as well. So it'll probably be Oregon and Ohio State in that championship in my opinion. And if they're playing on a neutral site in Indianapolis, I pick Ohio State in that game, even though Denzel Burke was getting tortured by Evan Stewart. That was supposed to be a top matchup coming into that week, and that was one-sided. That was very one-sided in that matchup. So shout out to Evan Stewart, man, doing his thing out there at Oregon. So before we go to break again and go to talk about some NFL, I want to bring up the Big 12, man. The Big 12 is as up and down as you could be in any league. Whatever we thought was going to be the case before the season started, it's not the case right now. A lot of people had Utah as the number 1 team. Now we've seen the news of Cam Rising being out for the year. And him getting granted another year of eligibility is crazy work. The NCAA has got to stop this. These dudes got mortgages and families, man. They don't need to be playing college football against 19-year-olds. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, almost 30.
This dude needs to be a coach, man. Time to go into coaching. I don't wish anything bad on the guy getting hurt and stuff, but he did get hurt. But, come on, bro. You're almost 30. These dudes are Ryan Williams is 17. Y'all want to see a 17-year-old playing against somebody that was born in 96, bro? These dudes was born in 07. And he's playing against people that was born in 04, 05. Come on, man. This is crazy work. You got to stop that. But Utah was expected to be one of the top teams. Looks like they're falling off. A lot of people had Oklahoma State going to be one of the top teams. They haven't won a game in conference yet. Kansas State is still looking good. They're still in good shape. But sitting at the top of the conference right now is Iowa and BYU. Iowa State, a lot of people, some people did have them being up there. Mm-hmm. I didn't think they'd still be 6-0 at this point, but they are, and they're playing some good football. Nobody had BYU. I don't care what you say. I don't even think the BYU people had them. Nobody had BYU sitting at 6-0, being number 13 in the country before the season started. You look at Colorado, who's just 2-1 in conference play after they lost a tough game against Kansas State that you got to win. Those are the games you got to win if you're the Colorado Buffaloes, but I don't want to harp too much on Colorado, even though they still got a chance to win this conference. The season's not gone. They're only 2-1 in conference play. They still have a chance to win it. I just think it's going to be a tough road ahead of them to get over the hump of BYU and Iowa State. But with BYU and Iowa State sitting at the top of this division, man, who are those the two best teams in the Big 12, or is that just what it looks like? Then I didn't even mention, I got to shout out Wayne Walker, man, and I didn't even mention the Red Raiders. Texas Tech is sitting at 5-1. They've struggled against Abilene Christian. They're 3-0 in the conference, and everybody kind of wrote them off after that struggle against Abilene Christian, and they almost lost that game. But they're sitting at 5-1 right now. They're not even ranked, so they're not getting love from the AP polls either. They're sitting at 5-1. They're 3-0 in conference play. So the Big 12 is just completely upside down. Arizona State's another one of those teams that's 5-1. They're 2-1 in conference play. I thought Arizona State was going to be literally one of the worst teams in the conference. And right now they're sitting at 5-1 and they're 2-1 in conference play. So who are your top teams in your opinion, PJ, in this Big 12?
So my top 5 goes like this. I got Iowa State at number 1. I got BYU at number 2. Texas Tech at Kansas State at 3. Mm-hmm. Texas Tech at 4, and then Arizona State at 5. You could argue that Colorado could be number 5.
Yeah.
But we really got to see. If they haven't really played a few of those other teams still on their schedule, so we can see. But they have an argument as well to be number 5. But right now, with those other teams and the way they've been looking, also with their records, I got Colorado outside of the top 5, but they're right at number 6. And they can pretty much beat any of those other teams, definitely if they got a healthy Travis Hunter. Nobody can really match up against that kid, bro.
Oh, no, not a chance.
On either side of the ball. He's ridiculous. He's like I've been saying about a few guys, he is really a matchup nightmare on both sides of the ball. You really just can't do nothing with him. You can try to slow him down, but you're not really. He's still gonna get his on the field for sure. But this Iowa State team is very surprising. They're really good.
Yeah, they're good.
I ain't gonna lie, they're really good. I'm very surprised about them, man. I mean, their running game is good. The defense look pretty good. I seen the game when they played Iowa, and I don't know, man. I don't know why I was asleep on them. After that, I just thought Iowa kind of choked or whatever. But the way they beat Iowa, that should have been a moment that everybody really should have started paying attention to them, you know, because they don't really beat Iowa the way they beat Iowa this year, you know. And that's a rivalry game.
Yeah.
So I got Iowa State at number 1. BYU is very physical. They're very, very physical, and they're big. BYU is big, and they're very physical. They're going to be a problem against anybody in the Big 12. I really feel bad for a few teams because I feel like they're going to do a few teams really bad. They're going to do a few teams really bad. I mean, we just seen how they did Arizona, a team that I thought was going to be a top team in the Big 12 this year, and they just beat them 41-19 this past Saturday. So
smack Kansas State,
like
too.
They're going to be a problem, BYU. And Kansas State is just Kansas State, man. Yeah, Kansas, they did, yeah. So that BYU team, man,
Hey, them BYU students play with a lot of pent-up aggression, man.
Kansas
if you know, you know.
Kansas State. Yeah, if you know, you know what they can't do. You know what they can't do on BYU. I think the whole state of Utah can go to school, right? Oh, no, that's because they the Mormons. Never mind.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's just at BYU. You know, then you know. So they got a lot of testosterone going on. You know, so they're going to be pretty tough for anybody. Like I said, in the Big 12, they got an argument to honestly be the number 1 team. The way they've been looking, I'm just leaning more towards Iowa State. They've been in this league longer, so I feel like they really know how to compete. They know how to compete in the Big 12 better.
No, for sure.
BYU, but BYU, I mean, they've been in there for a few years now. What, 2 years now?
Yeah, 2 years in the Big 12.
So they know what's going on too. So I can't wait to really see a lot of these teams. Yeah, in the Big 12. So yeah, I can't wait to see a lot of these teams start playing each other. Man, it's coming up right now. It's coming up. So we're going to start seeing a lot of these teams face off against each other. We're really going to see who is the best team in the Big 12. This is probably the most exciting conference. You could say one of the most exciting conferences because any team on that list can beat each other.
Yeah, and that's what makes this conference so fun to be able to watch week in and week out, man. And I'm a fan of the Big 12 always, even though my Baylor Bears are not doing – you know, and I don't even want to talk about Baylor too much because it's just disappointing when you see that they're sitting at 2-4 and your only 2 wins are against SFA and Air Force. That's nasty work. So hopefully they'll start picking it up as the season progresses. But you look at Iowa State, man, their best game they're going to play, best team they're going to play is Kansas State left on the schedule, in my opinion, and that's the last game of the season. So they've got a chance to get into the top 5 because Ohio State and Penn State are going to play before then. Michigan's going to play some of those other teams that are in that top 5. So there's a chance for some of those teams in the top 5 to shake around and move out. Man, Iowa State could be potentially could go undefeated the rest of this season, and they could potentially be undefeated going into that last game against Kansas State, man. And then BYU, like they said, very physical team. A lot of built-up testosterone over there, so that's probably why they're physical. Very physical team, and they've got a favorable schedule for the rest of the season. As I think they're probably going to beat Utah. They're going to beat Oklahoma State. They're going to beat UCF. Kansas, disappointing. I thought Kansas would look better than what they did. And U of H isn't there yet on what they're going to do. So BYU as well, man. I mean, it's a few teams. And Colorado still has a path. Kansas State, in my opinion, was going to be the toughest team they had left to play on their schedule. Because after that, I think they got to take care of business against Arizona. Cincinnati and Tech are going to they're going to have a tough stretch with that Cincinnati, Tech, and Utah stretch right there because both of those 3 teams, even though they're not ranked, are tough teams and are going to be tough teams to be able to beat. So if they can get past them, I think they're going to take care of business against Kansas, and then they got Oklahoma State at home to close out the season. So Colorado still got the best quarterback in this conference. Mm-hmm. So and they got the best player in this conference with Travis Hunter. So you cannot count them out on what they can do as well. So the Big 12 is loaded this year, even though, you know, everyone's looking at the Big 10, obviously. Everyone's looking at the SEC, obviously. I think the Big 12 is fun to watch week in and week out because there's about 6 or 7 teams that still right now have a chance to go and win this conference. So it's going to make for fun games every single weekend. Folks, we're going to go to a break, and when we're going to come back for the top of the hour after this break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the NFL news. We've seen the news of Devontae Adams traded to the Jets. What does that mean for the Jets? What does that mean for the AFC East? We've seen another team in the AFC East go and make a trade right after Devontae Adams. They matched that trade and went and got Amari Cooper from the Bills for a third-round pick, even though Jerry Jones, for some reason, could only get a fifth-round pick a couple of years ago for Amari Cooper. Somehow the Browns are able to get a third-round pick for trading Amari Cooper right now. So the Bills got better. Still want to talk. I'm going to ask PJ about my top 5 teams I did yesterday, and we're going to look at some of these games coming up in Week 7. Stay locked in right here on Centex Primetime. As always, go to the YouTube, Centex Sports TV, to be able to hop into the chat, or on Facebook, Centex Sports Network. You can hop in the chat and let us know what you're thinking about, what we're talking about here today. Also, if you want to listen, go to Centex, download the Centex Sports One app on your mobile device on the Google Play Store or on the Apple Store. You're listening and watching Centex Primetime. We'll be right back after this.
Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen Gillis.
Act like y'all.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports.
Are you looking for something new and unforgettable in Waco? Come to the Blazing Asian, where authentic Cambodian flavors meet creative culinary flair. Voted People's Choice as Waco's #1 Asian restaurant since 2019 by both the Wacoan Magazine and the Waco Tribune Herald. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin, we're serving up family recipes with a twist. Blazing Asian egg rolls are rolled fresh daily, and their sauces or marinades are made in-house with love. Stop by today. Located inside the popular Union Hall on 8th and Franklin. And for Baylor students, enjoy 10% off with your student ID.
It's the family feels for me. The banana pudding peach cobbler make you want to holler for me. It's the candy yams, mac and cheese, beef tips, pork tips and rice, collard greens. It's a sweet potato pie, sweetie. Fried chicken you've been missing, the lemon sweet tea dressing on Sundays when you all dressed up. Chest pie, buttermilk, and pound cake. Cornbread with butter just dripping, always fresh baked. If you need Southern style, soul food, home cooked meals that you can feel. Chicken and dumplings, chicken pot pie, 719 South 11th Street. Sassy's, come on by.
NSJ Event Co., one of the premier event designers in Central Texas and a Centex Sports Network supporter. Voted Waco Awards Event Planner of the Year 2021, NSJ Event Co. is your go-to source for event planning. Whether it's your next baby shower, birthday bash, wedding, or retirement party, NSJ Event Co. will bring out the elegance, class, and style your event deserves. Call NSJ Event Co. at the number on the screen or scan the QR code to schedule a free consultation. NSJ Event Co., where the party lady takes care of all your event needs.
The East Waco Empowerment Project, along with City Center Waco, is hosting WeBo, Workshop and Business Opportunity, to help create more entrepreneurs. Business owners like Aniceto Charles of True Jamaica Restaurant and Carla Dotson of Boardwalk on Elm attended WeBo to develop their business ideas into successful Black-owned businesses right in the heart of East Waco. WeBo can also help you turn your side hustle or business idea into the next thriving Black-owned business in our community. If you would like to attend this 10-week intense entrepreneurial workshop, go to WeBoWaco.org. That's WIBO Waco.org. Space.
When you are tired of good enough pizza and want the only authentic Italian quality pizza in town, with dough and sauce made fresh daily in-house, vegetables freshly chopped throughout the day, and meats made using the finest beef, pork, and chicken, I present to you locally owned and operated Marco's Pizza. Marco's has 3 convenient locations to serve you, including across from Pirate Stadium in Belle Meade. Feeding the entire family piping hot, authentic Italian fresh pizza, cheesy bread, and dessert tonight is as easy as going to marcos.com or stopping by the newest location in Belle Meade. Marco's Pizza. Say goodbye.
Required to qualify.
Christmas parties, the Civic Center has room to accommodate your needs. You're planning that special birthday party, having a family reunion, or training seminar. Book now at the Belle Meade Civic Center. And if you need to rent a room for that big event for your family or business function, the Belle Meade Civic Center is what you're looking for. Let their friendly and knowledgeable staff help take some of the hassle out of planning your next event. Call them today at 799-2418 or visit them at the Belle Meade Civic Center, conveniently located near I-35 and Loop 340. No matter if your event's big or small, they've got room for you.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. KWBT-FM, HD2 Waco, Temple, Killeen, Fort Cavazos. The new leader in sports in Central Texas is Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
Holy what is that?
It's time to get in the game.
You know what time it is.
Tune in to Primetime Sports Talk with Jalen Gillis.
To me, you are nothing.
Your go-to source for breaking sports news in Central Texas and exclusive Dallas Cowboys coverage.
Start it up, let's go.
Catch us Monday through Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. on the Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into Centex Prime Time, hour number 2 here on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon/evening. Hope everybody is doing well out there today. Some of you guys just now getting off of work. Thank you for tuning in to the show. You're listening to the wonderful sounds of Frankie Beverly and Mays. Definitely, as always, rest in peace, Frankie Beverly, legend in the music game. Folks, once again, welcome back into Centex Primetime. Hour number 2 here. First hour, we talked about a lot of college football. Texas Longhorns got a huge game coming up this weekend against the Georgia Bulldogs. We talked about Oregon and their win against Ohio State. Where does that put them at? Do they have enough to be able to make a national championship run? I think they do, but it's going to be tougher now with 12 teams in this playoffs. Talked about the Big 12 and what's going on in the Big 12. A lot of parity in the Big 12 right now between these teams. Iowa State and BYU sitting at the top right now, both undefeated. Still here joined with PJ Gaither as well. Here in hour number 2, we've got some NFL to talk about, and I want to start with a couple of quick takes as well. So everyone's seen the news. First off, the Jets have stayed in the news since for the last few weeks, even though they're sitting at 2-4 right now. I don't know how many 2-4 teams get talked about this much, but the Jets are finding a way to be dramatic. They're right there in Broadway, so they're living up to the name. And they trade for Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers seems like he gets another thing checked off on his wish list as they bring in Devontae Adams to now add to a room with Garrett Wilson. Now, I do like Devontae Adams going over there with Aaron Rodgers. I don't like it for my fantasy team, though, because Garrett Wilson has been carrying and picking me up some wins over these last few weeks. He's not going to get 20 targets anymore like he's been getting every game, seems like. But I still think that'll open him up some more to be able to get some more action and just to be more open on the field. I think they're going to end up trading Mike Williams or cutting this guy, something like that, because he's on the last year of his deal. He's making too much money, and he's just not on the same page with Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's right that Aaron Rodgers called him out and said that was his fault at the end of that game. I don't agree with that because I don't like my quarterbacks calling people out, but that's Aaron Rodgers, and he's not lying either. And it's been 2 weeks in a row of him doing that now, so I think Mike Williams on his way out of there. You're going to replace Mike Williams essentially with Devontae Adams. That could be a game changer for the Jets. The problem is they're 2-4. They're 2-4 right now. They've already lost a bad game to the Broncos, a game you can't lose. Yeah, they've lost to all the other teams they lost to have been good teams. 49ers are good. Vikings are undefeated. The Bills are a good team, even though they had a chance to still win that game. Missed about 3 field goals in that game and lost by a field goal. That's crazy. Don't know how that happens. But now, after all of that, you get Devontae Adams in the mix. Now you got Pittsburgh coming in, who you know is a good team. Pittsburgh, they got them on Sunday Night Football this coming up week. And I don't know if Devontae Adams is going to be ready to go that quick. I assume he would be because this is essentially the same offense he was running in Green Bay. Last time we seen Aaron Rodgers with Devontae Adams, he won back-to-back MVPs. Is Aaron Rodgers still that same guy? No, I'm not saying that like he's going to go win an MVP. But with him adding another weapon like Devontae Adams, who's probably still the best route runner in the league, with a potentially top 5 route runner in the league, and Garrett Wilson, at least top 10 route runner in the league for sure, and Garrett Wilson, putting those two guys together is going to open up more for this running game, even though Breece Hall had a good game against the Bills. Braylon Allen's still a good number 2 out there, the young kid out of Wisconsin. This is going to allow Aaron Rodgers to get the ball out of his hands quicker because this O-line is cooked. Let's just call it what it is. The O-line's cooked. Tyron Smith left the Cowboys, and they didn't bat an eye because, as we see, Tyron Smith is cooked. He's getting beat, and it's causing a lot of trouble for Aaron Rodgers. He's spending too much time on the ground. But this Devontae Adams trade helps a lot. PJ, do you think this gives them enough to be able to win this division? They're sitting behind the Bills. They just lost to the Bills. They'll get another crack at the Bills at the end of the season. But with New England looking like the way they do, with Buffalo Miami looking the way they do without Tua, does this give the Jets enough to try to compete and still have a chance to win this division?
Possibly. I don't think to fix the problems that they've been having that they needed an extra receiver or that they even needed just any extra player anywhere. The defense is really good. The offense has plenty of stars. I mean, I really don't know how they lost this game against Buffalo the other night. I mean, if you go look at the stats, bro.
Yeah, they got multiple guys having great games.
Bro, like Lazard had 6 receptions for 114, 1 touchdown. Garrett Wilson had 8 receptions, 107, 1 touchdown. Breece Hall rushed for 113 yards. Aaron Rodgers had, he went 23 for 35, 294, 2 tutties, and then 1 INT. You know, I don't know. I'm starting to feel, I don't know, man. I'm starting to feel like it's something with the players because y'all just fired y'all coach.
Yeah.
Y'all just fired y'all coach.
Can't blame him anymore.
And y'all lost. Yeah, you can't blame him no more because he's going. So what's really going on? So I like I said, possibly that could possibly help them getting Devontae Adams. We already know the history with him and Rodgers. You know, they one of the best quarterback receiver duos in history. So it can really be good for them, but at the same time, it can also do nothing.
Yeah.
It can easily also do nothing. Like, it can easily not change anything. And if it does do that, then they're going to have to address what the real problem is. And if that's Aaron Rodgers, if that's who the real problem is, or anybody really, but definitely it's starting to lean more towards him just because y'all let the coach go and then y'all just lost on Monday.
Yep.
And the offense only scored 20 points. A hard-earned 20 points.
Yeah, after scoring 17 in the first half.
Yeah.
Got locked up in the second.
So in the second half. So like that's what I'm saying, man. It's gonna all the pointing the finger at people. That's gonna have to stop. That's gonna have to stop. Y'all gonna have to go on the field and just play ball because y'all got guys on your team that are dogs. So there's no reason for you to be losing. They shouldn't already be at 4 losses, bro, this year. That's personally how I feel. With the people that they got on this team, they shouldn't already be at 4 losses. So that's low-key unacceptable.
It is.
When you think about the hype that they had coming into this season. So like I said, it could change it. And I don't want to be a party pooper or anything because this is very exciting for the Jets. I think this is going to make some big changes for them. But like I say, it can easily not benefit them at all because that's just not how football works. You don't just acquire people and then all of a sudden, oh, we're really good now. You know what I mean? That only happens a few times. We only seen that happen a few times. And those type of guys that did go to another team in mid-season and make a big change, those guys were great locker room guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We seen Tyrann Mathieu go to the Chiefs and made that defense totally better. But Tyrann Mathieu is a great locker room guy. He's just a great guy to have in your locker room. So that only happens a few times. That don't tend to happen all the time. So I'm hoping that they do good because I've been talking highly about this team all offseason leading up to the season, and they haven't really met any of those expectations.
None.
So I'm hoping that this team do really play a lot better getting Devontae Adams. We already know what it is with him and Rodgers. But like you were saying, too, this could possibly help open up Garrett Wilson even more because he's getting double teamed.
Yeah.
And he's still doing numbers. So this could hopefully open him up a little more because they're going to have eyes all on Devontae. And then it's also going to help anybody who, got Alan Lazard on their fantasy team too. because this is going to help open him up a little bit too. You know what I mean? So, I mean, those three right there, that's just dangerous. Plus the running game, if they can get, that's really what they need to get going a lot more is the running game. I haven't really seen Breece Hall have this type of game all season, and still he didn't have any touchdowns. So, I mean, the 113 really, I mean, it really didn't do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely, and like you said, with the amount of talent they have on this team, I'm like you. I thought the Jets. I picked Miami to win this division to start the season. Obviously, I thought that was going to be with Tua. Thought they made the right pieces and they will be able to win a competitive NFC East. But now looking at this, now the Bills are sitting at the top of this division, but I don't think the Bills are world beaters. I think they have a chance to beat them. Now the problem is, the Bills counteracted that transaction by going to get Amari Cooper, which they needed super bad. I think Devontae Adams helps the Jets, but the Bills needed a number one receiver bad, really bad. Their leading receiver in this win against the Jets was Ray Davis, who was also their leading rusher, who also started in his first game so far this season. So they're just searching. The thing is for the Jets, if this team isn't good by December, it's over because they have the easiest. They probably have the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL. They started off 2-4. Outside of the Steelers are a good team. That'll be a tough team, but they should beat the Steelers. It's Justin Fields versus Aaron Rodgers. We don't got to make that more complicated than what it is. Aaron Rodgers needs to win that game. They got the Patriots after that. They're going to lose against the Texans. I ain't worried about that. We gonna whoop them. I ain't worried about that. But after that, they got the Cardinals, the Colts, the Seahawks, the Dolphins, the Rams, the Jaguars. Like, you have to, if you don't turn this around, you're in too deep at this point to blow the team up, but you're cooked. If you can't turn it around with that schedule, you're cooked. There's nothing else that Woody Johnson can do, and everybody put a lot of this blame on Woody Johnson for how the Jets organization is what's been happening of late. He's the one that fired Robert Saleh. He's the one that makes a lot of decisions. He's been the owner since 2000, and the Jets have been trash since 2000 outside of those 2 years with Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan and Bart Scott and all them. They've been trash since he's been the owner. But he's putting it on. He's making sure, hey, y'all are going to blame Rodgers if this don't work. He said he ain't like the coach. Coach is gone. He said he wanted his drinking buddy in, even though he's the worst offensive coordinator in the league. He hired Nathaniel Hackett. He said he wanted his best friend receiver. He went and traded for Devontae Adams. He wanted Adam Lazard, even though Lazard is a mid receiver. They signed Adam Lazard. They signed Randall Cobb last year. Randall Cobb was supposed to retire 5 years ago. They signed Randall Cobb last year. They've done everything that you've asked them to do. So if this doesn't work, Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be your fault. And Woody Johnson is making sure of that. The heat is going to get off me. Y'all not going to keep blaming me for everything that's going on. I'm finna put it on number 8 out there and see what he can do. I don't gave him everybody he asked for. I mean, I don't know what else you want. You want a new car? You want to use somewhere to stay? He done gave you everything else you asked for. And then you got this schedule. If Aaron Rodgers don't deliver, man, this is a stain on his career, unfortunately. And he's had an illustrious career. I think he's a top 5 quarterback probably of all time. A lot of people would disagree with that because he's only got 1 Super Bowl. Dude got 4 MVPs, though. It ain't always all about Super Bowls. Y'all try to make everything about Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers is a monster and has been a monster for years. But this will be a stain on his career if he can't pull this off. So, like I said, they got the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. They got to go out there and they got to close the deal, and they got to get a win against Justin Fields. It starts there. Don't know if Devontae Adams will be in the lineup, but I think that he will. I think he's already passed his physical and stuff, and it's Aaron Rodgers. He knows what's routes to tell him to go out there and run, and they know the lingo with each other as well. PJ, I want to ask you about my top 5 teams. I do top 5 every Tuesday. My top 5 teams in the NFL. Yesterday, I did it on the show. Rocky Miller was on it with me. He disagreed with my list. Kyrell said he switched out a couple pieces here and there. My list was I had at number 1 Kansas City Chiefs, obviously. At number 2, I had the Baltimore Ravens. Number 3, I had the Detroit Lions. Number 4, I had the Minnesota Vikings. And number 5, I had the Houston Texans. Now, obviously, I could have just put this in order of record, but I didn't want to just be cookie cutter and just pick whoever's got the best record. I'm going off who do I think are the best 5 teams in the NFL right now. That's what I'm going off of. So that's why I put Baltimore at number 2, even though they got 2 losses. even though they should have won that game against Kansas City, and they do have a bad loss to the Raiders.
Baltimore.
Yeah, but they got a bad loss against the Raiders. But I think that Baltimore is the most talented. I mean, they're the scariest team in the league. I don't think anybody wants to see Baltimore right now. Now that they got Derrick Henry rolling, leading the league in yards, Lamar Jackson still doing what Lamar Jackson does week in and week out. Their defense is playing kind of bad right now, but their defense is going to get it together, and they're hurt. They got a lot of injuries on their defense right now. So once they get healthy, I know that their defense, they don't have Wink Martindale anymore. They got Zach Orr, a young guy, coaching up their defense, but I think he's going to get it together out there in Baltimore. That's why I put them at number 2. Rocky said I should have them at 4 or 5 because Minnesota's undefeated. And I know Minnesota's undefeated. I'm not even trying to disrespect Minnesota because they got some great wins in the NFL so far. I just don't. I'm thinking about it. If Baltimore matches up with Minnesota, who are we picking to win that game? When Minnesota and Detroit play this weekend, who do we think is going to win that game? So that's what I'm going off
Minnesota,
of.
who played?
Detroit, Minnesota, and Detroit play on Sunday. Detroit and Minnesota. So that's a.
Oh yeah, I got Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit was in the NFC Championship last year. They lost the game to Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is good. If Tampa Bay didn't lose that game to Atlanta, I would have put Tampa Bay in my top 5, honestly. But because they lost that game to Atlanta, I had to take them out of that. And the Texans, I put them there.
You see how they just did my Saints?
Yeah, exactly. The Texans, I had to put them there. Obviously, they're 5-1, sitting at 5-1, and they got a huge game coming up this weekend against Green Bay. Super good game coming up against Green Bay this weekend. So that was my top 5 list. I think Rocky said he moved Minnesota to number 2. I'm trying to remember who he had at 3. He might have put Detroit at 3.
Oh man.
He had. I think he might have had Detroit at 3, Baltimore at 4, and the Texans sitting at number 5. Kyrell said he had the same top 2. I think he moved. He moved Detroit out. He said Detroit shouldn't be in the top 5 at all, and he put Green Bay in the top 5, which I thought was crazy.
He just salty, bro. He just salty because they beat us on Sunday.
That's what I said. Hey,
he
man.
out of pocket, bro.
So how you gonna pick Green Bay over there, bro? Come on, man. And Green Bay, I still think it's gonna be a good team, but come on, man. We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
He's just salty, bro. You know.
No, for sure. I know what that was. He think he's slick. I know why you took them out. He talking about they're not that good. He said the fans should be humble and be grateful that they finally good again. I said, oh man, he gonna get the Detroit boys on his head. He gonna start seeing buffs outside his window. He keep playing.
Yeah.
He gonna start seeing a bunch of buffs pop up out of nowhere. If he keep playing like that.
You know, Big Meech. Meech got out today.
Yeah. They moved him to the halfway house. Big Meech almost to the crib now. I think they said release date January 2026. He might get out before then though, but they moved him to the halfway house. Shout out to Detroit, man. Y'all know I got ties out there, man. Shout out to Detroit. Shout out to the Buff Wearers. Sure. I had Detroit at number 3 out there. Yeah. So, PJ, what you think about the list? Who are you taking out or moving around in this list?
I ain't really moving nobody. I like your top. I like your top 5. I mean, as bad as I really want to move H-Town up a little bit.
Yeah.
Every other team that's above them got a good argument to be above them. So, and that don't mean that they can't beat any of those teams.
Definitely.
Every team in that top 5 can beat each other pretty much. On a good day, any of those teams in that top 5, if they play each other, they can beat each other. But I like that. I mean, it's the Chiefs. You said the Chiefs, the Ravens, Detroit, Minnesota,
and Houston,
and then Houston. Yeah, that's great. Who can you move out of it?
Apparently, Detroit.
Detroit. He got to stop that, bro. He did that bad. They beat us fair and square, man. They beat us fair and square.
Yeah, they don't like holding on to that L.
I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it was gonna come in due time, man. That was gonna happen in due time. We've beaten Detroit plenty of times.
Oh man, come on, plenty
in like the last decade.
Everybody has.
Like even when they had Megatron, we've beaten them.
Yeah, and they was triple teaming him.
They don't really like that. Yeah, they triple team. He's still catching it.
I see the slight beef. I see the slight beef with Detroit and Dallas brewing up. Hopefully, them two teams, if Dallas can get their act together, they can meet up in the wild card round of the playoffs or something like that, and we'll get to see that again. And hopefully it'll be the better result.
They go way back to the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go way back. We knocked them out the playoffs. What was that? 1990?
Yeah, whatever that 1 year is, they made the playoffs because they only made it like before last year. They only made it one time in 30, 40 years, something like that.
Yeah, we knocked them out the playoffs. Barry Sanders still had crazy yards on us.
Man.
Crazy.
Can't believe Detroit had Barry Sanders and Megatron retire early because they just got tired of getting their heads beat in and losing every single game. It's really crazy. So I'm happy for Detroit. I hope they make a run in the NFC and make a run to get out the NFC. I don't know.
I'm happy for them too.
I don't know if they'll be able to do that, especially with the news of Aiden Hutchinson going to be out for the season. Because to me, that was really their only star player on defense. They got some good guys here and there. They only had one star on defense, and that was Aiden Hutchinson. So it's going to be a tough road, but we'll see. We'll see if I need to move them around in my list because, like I said, they play Minnesota on Sunday. And it's a few teams in my top 5 that have a chance to either move or move up or completely get out the top 5 depending on what happens this coming up Sunday. Houston's playing Green Bay. That's a huge game. The biggest game of almost the season, especially with both of these teams got riding on it, is Kansas City and San Francisco playing on Sunday. That's going to be a huge matchup, and we're going to talk about that in a second, a little bit later. So that was my top 5. PJ said he agreed with it. You guys want to talk about my top 5? Go on to YouTube, Centex Sports Network on YouTube, Centex Sports TV. Jump in the comments, man. Jump in the chat. Let me know. Am I tripping with who I put in my top 5? And you can also go on Facebook and let me know if y'all think I need to move somebody around in that top 5 as well. So go on to Facebook and YouTube, the Centex Sports Network on both of those platforms. So before I look ahead into this weekend's games, because like I said, it's a lot of good games coming up this weekend. I think we got a great slate of games all the way to Monday night with Baltimore and Tampa Bay and going to end it on Monday night. I have no idea how the Chargers versus the Cardinals got on Monday Night Football too, but that's why they said that game going to be on ESPN Plus. They ain't even put that on cable. They said you don't even get ABC, NBC, nothing. That game is finna be on ESPN Plus. They wrong for that. They know nobody want to watch the Cardinals versus the Chargers, and it's on ESPN. How can a Monday night game be on ESPN Plus? That's nasty work. How did that even get? That's crazy that y'all would even set them up like that.
They have to buy something, brother.
They're not even on NFL Network. They on ESPN Plus. You got to go buy a subscription just to be able to watch a Monday Night Football game. That's how much they know people don't want to watch that game. But a lot of good games coming up this weekend. That Houston Green Bay is going to be a big game. Green Bay's been playing great football since they got Jordan Love back. These two are the best young quarterbacks in the league. Then you got the rivalry games that are happening, like Philly versus New York, Detroit, Minnesota, and even the Seahawks versus Atlanta. That's going to be a good game because if the Seahawks want to try to prove that they're not scrubs and those first 3 wins weren't on accident, they got to try to come out here and beat Atlanta. And if Atlanta wants to prove that they're actually the top team in the NFC South, they got to win that game. But before we go to them in these weekend slate of games, I got to talk about the Bengals, man. What is going on with the Cincinnati Bengals? This is very confusing. I know they don't have a great defense, but they're sitting at 2-4, and Joe Burrow is playing great football right now. I can't put this on Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is playing great football, and yet and still, this team is finding a way to lose. They're sitting at 2-4. They got some bad losses. They got some losses that, okay, with Joe, you definitely can't blame Joe Burrow for that loss against the Ravens. Dude went out there and put up 400-something yards, 4 touchdowns, and they lose. But even in a win against the Giants, they didn't look that good. Why are you struggling to beat the Giants? We know the Giants not good. Outside of that big run that Joe Burrow had, there was no explosive plays in that entire game. Something is going on with Cincinnati. At the beginning of the season, I said we got to start looking at Joe Burrow. But I'm ready to look at this coach because I ain't never been a fan of Zach Taylor. I think Zach Taylor's had this job because as soon as he got the job, Joe Burrow became the quarterback and he got hurt the first year. So they said, okay, we're gonna let him rock. He got hurt the first year. The second year they went to the Super Bowl. So after that elevated him to a whole nother stratosphere. He's a coach that won the conference championship. Cool. Ever since then, it's been going downhill. This team has talent. They got Jamar Chase, who me and you both say week in and week out, it has a case to be the best receiver in the NFL. They got T. Higgins, who was probably the best number 2 that you can have as a number 2 receiver. They let Joe Mixon walk. That was stupid, but that's on the front office. We know how cheap this team is. But this team still has some talent out there, and they're sitting at 2-4. They probably should have beat the Chiefs. That game was 26-25, and the refs did what they always do and bailed the Kansas City Chiefs out. They probably should have beat the Ravens. If they just run the ball and don't turn it over at the end of that game, the Ravens lose that game. And Joe Burrow looks like a hero because he throws for 400-something yards and a bunch of touchdowns. They beat the Panthers. You're supposed to beat the Panthers. They beat the Giants. You're supposed to beat the Giants. Their worst loss is week 1 of the season when they lost to the Patriots. The Patriots got 1 win. It's against the Bengals. So I don't know what's going on with the Bengals, man. They play at the Browns team, and it's not going to get easier. Yeah, the Browns just traded Amari Cooper. Yeah, Deshaun Watson playing like the worst quarterback in the league. But the Browns always beat the Bengals in the last couple years. And the Ravens. I don't know why if the Browns show up to any games, they show up to beat the Bengals and the Ravens every single year. So they got the Browns coming up this week. That's going to be a tough game. Then they got Philly right after that. What is going on with the Cincinnati Bengals in your opinion? And is their season already over?
Yeah, it's over with. Everything wrong with the Bengals right now.
Yeah.
Everything. They can't run the ball. There's no reason why Joe Burrow led in rushing last week, bro.
Crazy.
He led in rushing. Like, how does that happen? That's never supposed to happen. He not even that dynamic, like, as a quarterback to be rushing for that.
No.
Like, to be the leading rusher on his team.
He's not even fast.
He's pocket. Yeah, he gonna scramble. Yeah, like, he might scramble out a little bit, but he's pocket. He's not no Lamar Jackson dude, and he only rushed for 55 yards. So this just goes to show that they really can't run the ball. They can't run the ball at all. So that's one of the main problems, which puts a lot of problems on the receivers, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, because now, I mean, if you can't run the ball, bro, I don't have no reason to really, put 8 in the box at all. I really think just have my DBs, like, locked in on your 2 best receivers. And the fact that Joe Burrow is still being able to kind of make something happen, even though that's what's happening to them, is just crazy. But that all goes to coaching.
Yep.
They're gonna have to do something with their coach. They're gonna have to do something with their coach, man. I'm really seeing a lot of teams, bro, go under because their coach is trash.
Facts.
Trash. The plays they're calling trash. The defense is just not good. Their defense is not good. I don't think that they can get better. No, at least not this season. They can't get better this season. It's already too late. They're exposed. And yeah, they just held the Giants to 7 points, but we talking about the Giants. It's the Giants.
Exactly.
Anybody can pretty much beat them. They're not good. They're not good at all. So, yeah, I think it's over with. I don't really see them making a change this year. Not in the middle of the season, bro. I don't really see them getting hot. And I mean, and if they do, I'll be surprised. But I don't really see them getting hot right now, man. It's going to be a long season for them because they really can't. I'm telling you, they can't. If the things that they should be able to do, or the things that they should be doing to make life easier for Joe Burrow, they can't do. They can't do it, and they're not doing it. And I don't see anything that's going to make them be able to do that this season. And I haven't even talked about the line.
Yeah, exactly. The line's lacking too.
The line is terrible. Yeah, the line is terrible. So it's just all bad over there, man. Everything's wrong over there.
And I'm like you said, man, we got to start looking at this coach, Zach Taylor. I got to agree with Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin in the offseason was on a podcast, I think Ryan Clark in that podcast, and talking about how these coaches in the league now are scared to coach. You saying the dude can't read defenses? Why you ain't taught him to read a defense? You said the dude got busted coverages and he can't cover in his zones. Why you not coaching him better? I think dudes are running from coaching. right now, and it goes back to what we said a few weeks ago. They've simplified playbooks so much and pacified these players. Not only are they making certain players worse, they're making themselves worse. There's no reason the Cincinnati Bengals should be 2-4. There's no reason the New York Jets should be 2-4. There's no reason the Miami Dolphins should be 2-3. Yeah, you lost to it, but are they not good at almost every other position out there on the field? You got two backs, Raheem Mostert and David Etienne. You got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. The two fastest people in the league are playing receiver for you. You got some decent guys on the O-line. You lost Jordan Phillips, one of your pass rushers, but you gave Bradley Chubb all that money. You went and traded for Jalen Ramsey and Kendall Fuller. And you got Javon Holland and Jordan Poyer back there at your safety. There's no reason the Dolphins should be 2-3, with or without Tua. Cleveland Browns, obviously, there's no reason they should be 1-5. And I like Kevin Stefanski as a play caller. I'm not sold on him as a head coach. We got to start looking at Kevin Stefanski, too, out there in Cleveland. The Tennessee Titans are another one of those teams. I know everybody just, oh, man, Will Levis is garbage. Will Levis is garbage. I'm not here to debate that with anybody. Will Levis is not good at football.
Yeah,
he's just one of them people.
Walking meme, bro.
Yeah, like, literally, he probably got already about 4 or 5 memes already. That's just crazy. And he wasn't. They was overhyping him in Kentucky. Y'all just see some of these guys, and just because they tall, man, he might be an NFL quarter. Come on, man. Y'all knew Will Levis wasn't like that.
I'm gonna say it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, bro. If you're a tall white male at quarterback in college,
they're gonna give you a chance.
You play for Duke. They're gonna give you a chance, bro. All you gotta do is be a tall white male, 6'4" and up. You 6'4" and up, and you look like you kind of got a strong arm. You ain't even got to be accurate. You got a strong arm. They gonna hype you up for sure for the draft.
Man, I seen Mel Kiper talking about he might be the best quarterback in that draft before they came out. They say he's a sleeper pick of the draft. He might be the best quarterback in that draft class. I'm like, bro, y'all got to stop hyping these dudes up. And now look what you crazy. Now you out here getting them beat up. I don't think he's better than as bad as Bryce Young has played. I don't think he's better than Bryce Young. He sure ain't better than C.J. Stroud. We don't even got to bring that up. But like, come on, man. Y'all hype these dudes up for no reason. But it's still no reason that the Tennessee Titans should be that bad. They went and got Tony Pollard. They got DeAndre Hopkins and they got Calvin Ridley. And they got Tyler Boyd from the Bengals.
Yep.
Tajay Spears is not a bad running back to back up Tony Pollard. They went and got they DBs is loaded. They went and got Quandre Diggs. They still got Amani Hooker. They went and got Jamal Adams. They went and got L'Jarius Sneed from the Chiefs. They went and got Cheeto Awuzie from the Bengals. I don't know
why they not good.
Bro, there's no reason they should be this bad. They're one of the worst teams in the league, if not the worst team. There's no reason for that. Coaching is a problem right now in the NFL. We talked about how quarterback play has been a problem. Coaching is a problem right now. There's some dudes out here coaching that cannot coach football. No reason that the Tennessee Titans should be. All them people we just named, bro. And the Tennessee Titans is 1-4.
1-4?
1-4.
That's wow. That's crazy.
With their only win being against Miami. That's it. There's no reason for that, man. There's no reason for that. Regardless who you got playing quarterback. There's plenty of teams out here that have won games with bad quarterbacks. Brock Purdy ain't a bad quarterback. But look at the 49ers and what they have done with Brock Purdy. This is y'all. This is y'all coaching. Look at Bo Nix. Y'all not gonna sit here and tell me y'all think Bo Nix is good at quarterback. They 3-3, and they 3 wins are against some decent teams. That's coaching. Some of these guys are just not doing their job coaching, man. That just is what it is. That's just straight up and down. They not doing their job as coaches, and there's multiple of them. The Jacksonville Jaguars should not be the worst team in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence is not a terrible quarterback as much as. Yeah, and he's not even as bad as what people have tried to make him. He's had some games where he's played. I mean, the last game is the biggest tell of all of that against Jacksonville. I mean, against Chicago. I only watched that game because it was the only game on TV at the time. They played at 8:30. And then who keeps setting up the Jaguars to play in London back-to-back weeks? What did the people in London do to deserve that?
They gotta stop it.
What do the people in London do to deserve that?
They're not even Jaguar fans.
No, nobody in London is sitting up. Man, I can't wait to see the Jet. They don't know where Florida is. I understood when the Jets was out there. Of course people know them. That's New York. They don't even know where Florida is, bro. And if they do know where Florida is, they definitely don't know where Jacksonville is. What are we doing? What did they do? What did them people over there do to y'all? We finna make them. In week 7, we're going to make them watch the Jaguars versus the Patriots. That game could have been in Waco, and I wouldn't watch it.
They put the worst games over there every time.
Every time.
Man.
That game could have been at WISD Stadium, and I wouldn't have went and watched that game. The Jaguars versus the Patriots. Come on, man. What are y'all doing? Them people don't want to see that. But to my point, Jacksonville is not. It shouldn't be this bad. They should not be this bad. Doug Peterson, he got to go. Unfortunately, y'all had 2 bad coaches in a row. I don't think anybody could do worse than what Urban Meyer did. He's gonna go down in history in my book as one of the worst NFL coaches of all time because you completely disorganize an entire football team that was building up and trending upwards. You just completely destroyed that team. What was left of that team. You was out there fighting kickers. How you get in a fight with the kicker, bro? You're not even supposed to barely talk to the kicker. He don't even eat with the team. The kicker got to go and got to order something to go, man. You fighting with the kicker? Why are you fighting the kicker? You getting caught out here with and that's just something else. You getting caught out here with some young things, and you're supposed to be married. You're supposed to be worrying about why your team losing, and you in the bar kicked up, chilling with some college kids. See, he gonna go down as one of the worst of all time.
Coach out here tricking.
Yeah, you know what he's doing. You know he's spending that Ohio State money and that Florida money that he probably still getting from Florida. So he set this team back, but Doug Peterson, man, you ain't doing too much better, bro. You ain't doing too much better. There's no reason the Jaguars should be 1-5. They went and got weapons for Trevor Lawrence, even though they are dropping passes. They are in that Chicago game. They dropped by 3 touchdowns. They dropped about 3 touchdowns, and they got blown out in that game.
Dude on their team.
Go ahead.
It don't make no sense how they dropping passes.
Yeah.
It don't make no sense how they dropping passes, bro. I'm talking nobody catching. Nobody.
And you got Evan Ingram.
Running backs not catching.
Yeah, you got Evan Ingram, Gabe Davis, who they paid too much money to, Christian Kirk, who they paid too much money to. Brian Thomas, probably their best receiver, and he a rookie. ETN not getting no action. I think ETN at one point had like 5 carries for -1 yards in that game against Chicago. What is going on?
What y'all got him for, bro?
What's going on? Like he ended the game with 3 carries, -1 yard.
That's crazy.
That's y'all best running back.
What are y'all?
Yeah, I don't understand, man. Coaching is showing up. What Mike Tomlin said is the truth. Ain't nobody been put in tougher situations than Mike Tomlin's been in. The AFC North has been one of the best divisions in the league for a couple of decades. He still hasn't had a losing record, and he's been out there with Mason Rudolph and a dude that hunted ducks. I can't even remember the other guy, but the duck hunter at quarterback multiple times. Like, come on, man. And he still finds a way to go and wins game. Y'all running from coaching, and it's showing up. I'm on Mike McDaniel, too, out there in Miami. Like I said, bro, y'all got too much talent. You out there hitting the vape with all your homeboys talking about me and Tua stay up and play video games. Hey, bro, why don't you coach some football, man? Why don't you coach football? We already know. Yeah, we already don't know. You're identifying yourself as biracial. You don't have to say that. We can see. We can see that. We know what. Yeah. When he first got the job, he's talking about I identify as biracial. Bro, we know you're biracial, bro. You don't have to say that, bro. We can see. We have eyes.
Nobody care about that.
Nobody was going to ask you about that. There wasn't going to be one question about, hey, what race are you? He just came out the blue. I identify as biracial.
Nobody care about that.
Okay, all right, bro. We seen you hitting that vape on the sideline. You addicted to vape. You're a coach and you addicted to vape. What's going on? See, that's the problem.
Yeah, he got to stop.
We need to go back to the old days when coaches was chewing tobacco and stuff and smoking a cig on the sideline. We got to go back to them type of coaches.
Go back to that.
These new coaches out here hitting vapes with the players. That's crazy, bro. What are you doing? Me and Tua bombed by playing video games. Why are you playing video games with your players, bro? And now when Tua's lost, you out here looking terrible, and you got one of the best rosters in the league. I don't understand it, bro. I don't understand what's going on with some of these coaches in the league. And unfortunately, it is causing problems for teams in the league. So, folks, we got about 15 minutes here left on the show. Want to go through a couple of these games with PJ on here, and what do we think? Because, like I said, some really, really good games coming up this weekend. I'll talk more about the Denver-New Orleans games tomorrow on Thursday night and what does that mean for both of those teams, because that's a big game for both of those teams. Even though Denver and New Orleans not necessarily a big-time matchup, it's a big game for those two teams in the season. We just talked about coaching. Dennis Allen, you are on your way out, buddy. You start out 2-0 and you drop 4 games in a row like that. You finna be calling Sean Payton. You finna play your homeboy at Denver, Sean Payton in Denver. You finna be calling him for a job that's coming up summer to see if you can work for him again. You worked for him for about 10 years. You finna be calling him for a job if y'all don't get it together. And Denver, they're trying to prove that they're a respectable team. So that's going to be a good game this coming up weekend. But I want to go to some of these other games because we'll talk about that one tomorrow. This Houston-Green Bay game, I'll start there. I had Houston in my top 5. Kyrell, for some strange reason, had the Green Bay Packers in his top 5. And I don't even think Green Bay's bad. It was just wild to put them in the top 5. Green Bay's a good team. In these last couple of weeks, they got one of the hottest offenses in the league. They just thrashed the Cardinals. They squeaked out a close game against the Rams. And their offense even looked good in Jordan Love's return, even though he was still kind of limping and kind of hurt a little bit when they lost to the Vikings 31-29. So this is one of the hottest offenses in the league, taking on one of the best teams in the league, in my opinion, in the Houston Texans. Houston's coming into this game 5-1 on the season. This is going to be a big game for them. They got some injuries out there. Mario Edwards just got suspended for PEDs. I'm like, man, come on. Why y'all checking for PEDs mid-season, man? Leave these guys alone. He done got suspended for 4 games now. We got a few other injuries out there. Obviously, Nico Collins still hurt, still on IR. But Stephon Diggs has been stepping up in his absence. We got Tank Dell back now. He's in the fold out there, receiver. Joe Mixon is back out there. Joe Mixon looked good last week. So this is going to be a big game. Right now, they got Green Bay a 2.5-point favorite. I'm taking them points all day with Houston. Obviously, y'all knew that, though. But they got Green Bay a 2.5 point.
Green Bay as a favorite?
Yeah, they got Green Bay a 2.5-point favorite right now in this game. So what you think about this matchup?
Yeah, that's crazy. I got Houston winning, man. Houston only getting better. As the season progressed, they're only getting better.
That defense, man. The defense is nice.
You got them later on in your. I'm telling you, man. Like, if you got them later on in your schedule, you should be kind of worried because they're only getting better as the season progresses. Like, that defense is just. That might be the best defense in the league, bro. I'm gonna go on a limb and say Houston got the best defense in the league.
We up there. I put us as up there. It's a few other teams with some good defense, but we definitely up there. Kansas City got a really good defense, and a couple other teams too. But we ain't far behind nobody.
Yeah. Nobody. And what they gonna do, where some defenses don't do, Houston gonna get takeaways.
Oh yeah.
They gonna get takeaways. So, they gonna get them turnovers. So, yeah, Houston, man, they a problem, bro. And they're so young. Yeah. I don't think people – I can't stress this enough. I've been saying this since, last year, bro. This is a young team. So the sky's the limit for them. They can only get better. They're young.
Facts.
They possibly one of the youngest teams in the league, man, to be real. I'm talking about at multiple positions, though. They're extremely young. So
and they got a good mix of veteran
and
leadership.
Well coached. Yeah. Right, bro. They're well coached. They coach is a player's coach.
For sure.
You know what I mean? He the type of coach that you want if you're a player, for sure. He's leading them in the right direction. This team is they're one of the they're one of the better teams in the league for sure. And they're gonna be a problem, like I've been saying for a while now, for years, for the next however long. However long this lasts, they're gonna be a problem. So I got Houston, man, beating Green Bay. And there's no knock to Green Bay. Green Bay's really good too. But I just don't think they're gonna be able to really just do anything honestly against Houston. I don't think it'll be a blowout. It'll be pretty close, but I wouldn't pick Green Bay as the favorite.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good game, and I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. Even if Green Bay wins, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think they gave them the advantage in this one because Green Bay is at home. But that's going to be a great game. 12 o'clock, 5-1 Houston versus 4-2 Green Bay. another game in the NFC North, man. This is honestly a battle for the title in the NFC North right now. If you can have one this early in the season, Detroit versus Minnesota. Minnesota's undefeated. Detroit only one loss. Detroit just went to the NFC Championship last year. Minnesota's looked like one of the best teams in the league. And like I said, it's only 2 undefeated teams in the league. Minnesota's one of them. Brian Flores has been doing an amazing job coaching this team, coaching this defense, man. I think if they had comeback coaches or any awards like that, man, Brian Flores would for sure win it. He's got that defense playing great with no stars. They don't really have no stars out there. They picked up a bunch of guys that teams have tossed to the side. Andrew Van Ginkel, who's been playing great. They got in from Miami. He's been playing great in that Brian Flores system, a guy that Brian Flores coached when he was at Miami. You think about Jonathan Grenard that they got from Houston. He's been playing great. The Cowboys tossed Stephon Gilmore to the side, so they didn't want to sign him. He's too old. He's been playing great since he's been out there. Brian Murphy that they got from Arizona has been playing good. Harrison Smith is always one of the best safeties in the league. The Bynum kid out there is super slept on, one of the better safeties in the league as well. That defense has been playing great. On the other side of the football, they got Jettas. I mean, it's that simple, and they got a good play caller with Kevin O'Connell out there for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Sam Darnold, I think slowly but surely, he's starting to turn back into Sam Darnold. He's playing good. I'm not saying like he's going to be sorry, but, you know, those first couple weeks he was playing like he was Peyton Manning or something. I think he's starting to come back down to earth a little bit, and we'll see him come back down to earth just a little bit more against Detroit this weekend. They got Minnesota a 2-point favorite. It's in Minnesota, so I wouldn't be shocked about them winning this at all. But this is going to be a huge game coming up on Sunday, Detroit versus Minnesota. What you think about this game?
This is going to be a really, really, really top NFC matchup this week. These are two of the better teams in the NFC so far this season. Both teams been looking really good. I mean, you see the Vikings, they undefeated. I don't think anyone expected them to be undefeated coming into the season. You know, Detroit, I mean, we seen what they did last year. They have they got high expectations for them this year, and I feel like so far they've met every expectation coming into this season. Honestly, the offense looked way better than what it did last year, which is kind of scary. I know they just took a loss with Aiden Hutchinson. He broke his tibia, so he's going to be out.
Yeah, he's done
for the season. But yeah, he's done. But they got a lot of guys, man. They got a lot of guys, and I'm sure they're going to try to figure something out. You can't really replace that guy. There's going to be a big piece missing from your team. But I think they can get it done, man. I think Detroit can get it done. They got a nice little movement that they got going on up there. I just like that. I like their team, man. I know they just whooped my team, but I really like Detroit. I like what they got going on, you know. And like I said, man, it was past due for them to go ahead and put a whooping like that on the Cowboys. We finna talk about them though in a little bit, but you know, yeah, Detroit. I got Detroit winning this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings were to win. It really just depends, man. The game can go either way. Either way. I really feel like if the Vikings, if they're not able to stop this passing game and really just this running game, because when you watch Detroit, they're able to run the ball really good, and that's how they can end up going, you know, into the passing game. And these dudes putting 8 guys in the box, they killing dudes over the top, you know what I mean? So I don't know. It's going to be a really good game. There's going to be really one game that I'm going to really be paying attention to this Sunday for sure.
Yeah, this is definitely the 2 top teams in the NFC right now. These are both the best teams in the NFC, in my opinion, Minnesota and Detroit, and they're going to be playing for that. So that's a huge game, like we both said. That's coming on Sunday. Before we get off the show here, folks, we got about 5-6 minutes left here in the show. PJ, you weren't on here the first couple of days, so I got to give you an opportunity to talk about your Cowboys, man, and what's going on. Obviously, you just alluded to the game of them getting beat down against Detroit. But Jerry Jones going on there and threatening the dude. He's so mad he threatened to fire a dude just because he asked him a question. Y'all got him so messed up right now. He said, hey, you keep talking, I'm going to get somebody else to come in here to say something nice about me. So he's tripping. He is honestly running this organization in the wrong direction. There's a lot of finger pointing going on. Mike McCarthy is honestly probably in his last year. He looks like he don't even care because he know he in his last year. He's not going to get another head coach job after this. He's 60-something. He finna go and live on a lake somewhere. So it's a lot of finger pointing going on. And whose fault is it? The defense doing this. Dak ain't doing this. What's going on with the Cowboys, man? We got about 5-6 minutes left. I'll let you close it out.
What's been going on? What's been going on for the last, almost 30 years? We finna be on the third generation that has never really seen this team win a championship. And even if you were born in that first generation, which is the 90 babies, if you were born 90 through 95, you don't, 90 to probably 92 maybe. You don't remember. Maybe the people that was born in 90, maybe you probably remember when they won that Super Bowl, 95 to 95, 96 season. But still, bro, that don't really count. We finna be in the third generation of people kids who've never seen this team win, and that's just really unacceptable when you think about where this team has come from. The main problem is the old man that's talking on the radio threatening people to fire them and stuff just because you don't like what they're asking you. It's an ego
crazy
problem with him. We're not going to be good until he's able to look in the mirror, bro. Yeah, he got to look in the mirror and honestly tell himself that he's been the problem. Ever since he's become the GM, this team has not won anything. It's been too many seasons that we've had teams that were good enough. I ain't going to say good enough to win a Super Bowl, but at least maybe make it to it or make it to an NFC championship game. We haven't even made it to that. We're a divisional team at best.
Yeah.
That is our ceiling, making it to the divisional round of the playoffs. That's our ceiling. And it's been our ceiling for the last 30 years. I feel like, because you got two sides of this fan base. You got the ones that's like me, realistic, and then you got the ones that's just, for some reason, delusional, super delusional. I don't get how we are the only team in the league who thinks that we don't have to go get nobody in the offseason whenever the offseason is where you're supposed to get better. We lost key pieces to our defensive line from last year all throughout the offseason. We lost DBs because we didn't want to pay them because they're too old. We should have paid Dak Prescott right after the season last year because it would have been a lot cheaper than what we did now, which he didn't. He don't deserve a lot of money. He in year 8 and has not won anything. You don't get better in year 8 and up. Year 8 and up, you don't get better. And I'm not here to blame everything on him because everything's not his fault, but I'm just saying you don't get better. It's time for us to move on. It's a culture problem. You got a lot of guys. D-Law got to go. It's this soft culture. I don't know why we brought Zeke back. He asking for more carries,
He's
but
terrible.
You don't do nothing with him. I can go to South Dallas right now. I can go to South Dallas right now in Bunton, and I promise I'll find a crackhead that run faster than Zeke.
I'm not for real.
This dude has no type of explosiveness, bro. I promise I'll go right now and go find a crackhead in Bunton that run faster than him. It don't make no sense, bro. This is my thing. We pick up Dalvin Cook. If Dalvin Cook, if he's not better than Zeke right now at this point in their career,
he got to be better than
retire. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know what's going on. We can't run the ball. We have no running game, zero running game. We paid CD all this money. He's not really showing up. Every week I see his face, bro. Every time I see him or Dak, it's like they on the sideline pouting.
Yeah.
Like they on the sideline pouting. They look sad, bro. Like everything around this team right now, the aura around this team is just sad, bro. Like everybody is just sad. Our owner, he over here, he gaslighting folks. I don't even like using that, bro, but he really gaslighting us, bro. Like he really gaslighting us because he know he the problem, and he's too prideful to come out and say that he's the problem. And that's why I really didn't even watch this game this past Sunday. I ain't gonna lie. I went to the farmer's market on Sunday. But I was gonna wear my jersey. So I get in the shower. By the time I got out the shower, they were already up 20-3 this first quarter. I took my jersey off. I said, I can't wear this in public today. I ain't even let them get me mad, man, because my Longhorns won on Saturday. LSU won too that night. You know, so I wasn't finna let the Saints and the Cowboys just kill my whole entire, you know, weekend because my other teams won on Saturday. But I think I'm done. I'm done watching. I ain't, like I said, I ain't watching. I watched the highlights. Like I watched like some really like long highlights of the game. I tried to watch a little bit at first. Man, they got up on us so fast though that I was just like, man, I ain't finna watch the rest of this. It's really unacceptable the way that we lost. This the worst loss since 1989, since Jerry has become the owner, and they got blew out like that on his 82nd birthday.
Yep, on his birthday.
We need to just dudes got to start. They got to go. A lot of guys got to go. Like I said, you got to change the culture. And I wasn't really upset that we lost. I knew we were going to lose. Like I knew we were going to lose. Jordan Lewis, he's a clown.
I don't know what's wrong with that dude.
What's the man? He sucked, bro. We need to go ahead and cut him. He needs to get cut. He sucks. You on Instagram and bro DMs. What's bro that plays for the Lions, man?
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra, man. You in his DM talking about you a B. You still a B. Like what? That's clown behavior, bro. You got burnt the entire. Matter of fact, you've been getting burnt the entire season. And really, before this season, I thought that he was still always getting burnt. We love having guys on the team that consistently get burnt. Terrible, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm telling you, man, we out here bad, man. Our DBs out here burnt like a hooker. Like they trash, man. Diggs, Diggs.
Yeah, Diggs.
Trayvon, he gonna end up having to go too, bro. Like all these dudes be want to get paid this money, but y'all don't want to show up. Trayvon ain't trying to hit, and oh my God, he was getting done so bad.
He got torched by Jameson.
What are we on? That's what I'm saying, bro. Regardless of if we had D-Law or Micah, that was going to happen. Regardless, we don't have no offer. We're just not a really good team. That's why I wasn't even mad. We just not a good team. I've been said this to all the delusional Cowboy fans before the season. We didn't pick nobody up during the offseason, so please don't expect too much. And we just gave this quarterback over here an extension, so we're going to be like this for the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's all I got to say about them.
No, I mean you spoke the truth, man. You spoke the truth. Like you said, a lot of fans don't want to hear that, but a lot of that's the truth. And starting with Jerry Jones, and the Jordan Lewis thing is honestly hilarious because it seems like they always got one of these nickel corners that's always getting killed. That's always talking crazy. It's very reminds me a lot of Orlando Scandrick, unfortunately, and no one should be reminding me of Orlando Scandrick. But folks, that's gonna wrap up today's show, man. I want to thank everybody for watching with us today. Also, I just seen PJ too that George Pickens called Amon-Ra, since we was talking about him, called him a slot merchant and said he only gets yards because he's a slot merchant and he ain't never had to get on the outside and really work. I just think that's hilarious. He called him a slot merchant, and that's why he getting the ball all them yards. But as you can see, folks, we got plenty to talk about on the show, even tomorrow. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me today. Still got plenty to talk about tomorrow. We got Thursday Night Football tomorrow, and we got great games this weekend in college and NFL that we got to break down some more tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow, 5 o'clock to 7 p.m., on Centex Sports Network on YouTube, and also on Affinity Sports Radio on the Centex Sports One app and on Facebook as well. Thanks, everybody, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Everybody have a great evening.
Central Texas home for sports. It's Centex Sports Network and Infinity Sports. Catch all your in-depth sports analysis with the best. The hottest sports show in the evening is Centex Primetime, hosted by Jalen Gillis.
Act like y'all.
Weekdays 5 to 7. This is the Central Texas #1 leader in sports. Centex Sports Network.
That's right, sports fans. We can talk about sports.
And Infinity Sports.
785-9132.